So in ABT Lockdown Live, we try to track down the absolute legends of the sport, and I've got one with me right here. I've got Glen Casey, who is, doing things as he normally does, sort of socially isolating himself out just west of Byron Bay. Glen, good to see you there in the shed. This is where all the magic happens, isn't it?
Mate, it sure is. Good to see you, Steve. Yeah, well, really no difference for us. Me and Susie, just 24/7 in the house, in the shed. So, not much difference.
So your commute to work is how far? About, what, 20 feet, 30 feet?
Oh, look, it might stretch a little bit more, maybe 50 feet.
Yeah, 50 feet to work, mate. And just to put everyone in the picture, I think I caught my first bass where the river crossing is at Nashua there. How far is that away from your house?
Oh, well, when I was a kid, I used to live near there, and that's probably 15 minutes away.
There you go, mate. So I know the part of the world you live in. You're surrounded. Well, they don't call them bass there. They call them perch, don't they? You're in the perch capital of the world, right where you are. Definitely,
mate. Definitely.
Now, for the viewers that don't know the history of Bassman Spinnerbait, you acquired the business from Robin Sattler, and in the early days of ABT, there will be some guys that are watching now who would have known Ron Sattler and Robin Sattler came to the early events. They came in their wagon. They lived on site there, and they would custom make you spinnerbaits. And it was a really cool service. You'd rock up and you'd say, I want this blade, that skirt, and by the end of the session, they'd have a spinnerbait made for you, mate. It's come a long way from the early days in the back of the camper van, hasn't it?
It sure has, mate. Yeah, I was lucky enough. My actual first ever spinnerbait, I actually bought off Ron himself. Yep. That was when he come to a Bass Classic down here at Lismore. And, mate, ever since then, I'd been using them, following it along until Ron's passing, and then Robin had it for a couple of years and then put it up for sale, and that's when Susie and I acquired it. So
the other bit of the backstory as well is Bass Lodge it's upstream from Kempsey on the Macleay River. They actually lived and worked out of this unique lodge in a unique part of the world. Have you ever been up to Bass Lodge?
Mate, I've been there a few times, stayed there a fair few times as well. Mate, it is just like the log cabin from America built on the top of the Macleay. It is like walking into Bonanza, if some people remember that. It is just an awesome log cabin. And I think it's still available to rent for families and that for weekends and that sort of thing. It is magic spot.
No, there are owners there, and I think they have some cabins on there as well now. So it is a lovely part of the world. Now, from those early days, those guys really specialised in bass lures, but nowadays you make a hell of a lot more than just for the humble Australian bass. Like, it's probably not even your major market anymore. Tell us what markets your business services?
Well, it target from bass, yellow belly. Majority of it is Murray cod these days.
Yeah.
And then Matt Amstead just went to Colombia and wanted a couple of spinnerbaits to do for the peacock bass, mate. Wow. And we done a couple for him, and he was pretty happy with that. So it was awesome. So just about everything we're sort of close to spinnerbait wise.
Anything that's got a spinning blade on it, mate, you've got your finger in that pie there. But let's backtrack a little bit as well and talk about one of your longest-term sponsored anglers. And let's just face it, you did all right when you picked this fella to come and be on the team. Someone who's socially isolating in the central south of America at the moment, mate, Carl Jochimson. Were you like everyone, all the rest of my mates, and were you sitting there with tears in your eyes when he finally won that elite event?
Mate, we sure will. Susie and I were sitting here watching it. Tears rolling down the face, mate. Yep. It was just such a proud moment to see him come from where we did to now. It's just he's awesome, and got a lovely girl now too.
Oh, it is. He's living the dream, isn't it? We all love living vicariously through Carl, but he's done some pretty good work getting the Bassman brand from out at, are you at Clunes or Bexhill? Where are you in northern New South? You're at
Bexhill.
At Bexhill? Like, it's a small part of northern New South Wales, mate, but your brand name is now known amongst the COVID champions of the world in America.
Well, it is. Some of the people he's actually associated with and that as well has been fantastic. Like today, we not only sponsor Carl, we sponsor Seth Bider, Josh Douglas, and we picked up Chris Grow at the start of the year as well, and a couple of other boys. And mate, it's awesome.
How good is Seth Fighter? They call him the amazing fighter man, but he's got the Joe Dirt haircut, and he is about as Australian as you can get in America, isn't he?
Exactly. Mate, he's just a really cool dude. I suppose that's the best way to put it. He's just a really nice fella and real genuine too. Yeah.
Mate, that's awesome. And you've taken the opportunity to get over to America yourself. Tell us about your last trip to America.
Was Carl's wedding. Mate, that was fantastic. It was a quick trip. It wasn't long enough, like all our trips, but to go over there and celebrate his wedding with him and Kayla and all the other Aussies that went it was fantastic. It was a really good trip.
Well, that's awesome because we've got Carl on the show later tonight answering some questions from some of the guys that watch ABT Lockdown live. Let's shift focus a little bit because this weekend should have been the Mega Bass round of the Suffolk Bass Pro Series on the Clarence.
Yes.
For the last few years, ABT's really got into and started to enjoy running tournaments on rivers. You know, we love doing them in the Richmond. We all remember the one in the Richmond where Joey Urquhart just missed out on winning himself a Bass Cat. And this weekend on the Clarence would have to be one of the events where people ring me up afterwards and say, Morgo, I had such fun fishing that river. There are so many bass in such a long part of that river. It must be cool to have that nearly in your backyard. Oh,
mate, it is fantastic. I'm lucky enough. I don't fish that bottom end too much at all, but I fish up towards Tabulum Way and that all on the top of the Clarence a bit, and I absolutely love it. Such a big river. It is just enormous. Yeah, it is fantastic.
Tell me about your personal best bass out of the Clarence. I know we've all caught fish over 50 in there because they get up into those water holes and sometimes they don't move for a long time. How big is your biggest bass and what did you catch it on down in the Clarence?
Well, I haven't got a photo, but you can ask Danny Robinson because he was with me when I got it.
Yes.
But she went 58 to the fork.
Wow.
On the Broadwater, on that top end of the Clarence we went to, and it was caught on a 3/8 Bassman Spinnerbait in Scully's colour. So he will love that.
Wow, there you go. Scully's still having his fingers in all the pies, even though he hasn't fished for the tournaments for a while.
It sure was, yeah.
And we have Scully going to come on the show. I only talked to him earlier in the week. We're going to have a segment with Scully on the show because he really is like the Gandalf of bass fishing, isn't he?
Oh, mate, he is an absolute gentleman and a scholar. And, the wealth of knowledge that fella's got is just amazing.
Mate, I've got one more question before we stop talking to you. And if you were going to buy a spinnerbait, the fishing for bass in a tournament in Australia, and you wanted to take it to any river or lake to go to, what is the Bassman spinnerbait that is the must-have in every tournament angler's tackle box? Just explain what's the weight, what's the configuration, and what's the colour.
Well, if I had to pick one with what has just come along and what we have just done with Carl, it would have to be, I've actually got one here, I can show it to you.
There you go. I thought you might have had one laying around.
Yeah, it's actually that, can you see
hold
that?
her up, hold her up to the camera.
Yeah.
Bit higher. There you go, that's it, explain
it. Now, this is the reconfiguration we actually done for the boys in the US. Okay, so it's a new Super TW. We redesigned the wire and blade configuration with it. Okay.
A little bit higher, that's it.
Okay.
Yep.
And Carl will actually hate this, but it's in JP's colour. JP designed this skirt, and, mate, I've caught so many good fish on this one in the local river. Yep. And this is one I would take with me anywhere.
And you would take that largemouth or Australian bass?
Exactly, mate. I would take this one anywhere with me. Oh, well, put it this way, I won't leave home without one.
That's it?
Yeah.
If you only had to leave home with one, that's the one that you'd leave home with. Good stuff.
That's it, definitely.
Now, tell us, if people haven't got a Bassman spinnerbait in their local tackle store, how do they get hold of a Bassman spinnerbait? Give us some websites and some ways to get hold of them.
Okay, they could go straight up. They can get in contact with us and we can direct them to the store.
Yep.
Or they can go straight to Mo Tackle, has an awesome range of Bassmans.
Yep.
For bass and also Murray cod. If they're in Victoria, they'd chase up like Trellies down in Victoria, or even in Brisbane, they could chase up the boys from Tackle Warehouse and that in Brisbane, have a range of Bassmans and that there. Or if they're in somewhere else, they can give us a holler. And, I'd have to mention Fish and Bits at Toowoomba do have a great range of Bassmans as well.
Yeah, so, I'd expect that to happen, because I know you're you like the whole Jockimson family, because I've seen you at a couple of Chris George boxing bouts, mate. You don't mind that as well, do you?
No, mate. I don't mind a little bit of a stink every now and again. So, yeah, no, mate. They're a really good country people, and I think that's what holds them in good stead all around the world. Put it that way.
That's awesome, mate. I really appreciate your time, and ABT appreciates the sponsorship that you've continued ever since the early days of Ron and Robin Sattler, and it's come all the way through today. I know we're in difficult times at the moment and we can't fish tournaments, but when we're up and running again, mate, we'll be up and we'll be pushing your brand as usual, because ABT and ABT Anglers, we love you there at Bassman, mate. Thanks for helping us out through the years.
Thank you very much, Steve. Much appreciated, and we'll be there as long as I've got Bassman as well.
Good stuff, mate. We'll catch you next time.
Have a good one.